Skip Bayless is in the market for a new co-host on his FS1 show, Undisputed. He's set to lose Shannon Sharpe at the end of the NBA Finals. Shannon recently agreed to a contract buyout after reported issues with Skip Bayless behind the scenes about production of said show. It is being reported by Front Office Sports that one name you might want to keep an eye on to replace Shannon on Undisputed is none other than former Philadelphia Eagle, played for other teams as well, now co-host of Speak. How about Lesean Mccoy getting a look at being Skip Bayless' next permanent host on Undisputed? I don't know if Lesean will get offered the position. If you just look at what Skip Bayless historically has liked in a co-host, there is one thing that obviously Lesean crosses the T's and dots the I's, and that is being a Philadelphia Eagles fan, previously playing for them, and obviously being a Dallas Cowboy hater. So there is that. Obviously, Lesean also former NFL player. That works as well. I'm going to tell y'all this personally. This is my belief. And thank y'all so much. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback on the conversations we've been having about Undisputed. Y'all seemingly really like my very unique perspective on this one. I appreciate y'all dearly, and we'll continue to talk about it as long as there's new news to report. This is my personal opinion, outside looking in. You know, and this is not a slight at Lesean McCoy. I've never met the brother. I don't think he's that good, but to be fair to him and to be fair to Skip, I didn't know anything about Shannon Sharpe from a debate-style host. I saw a little bit of his work at CBS when I was younger, but I didn't know much about Shannon Sharpe. If I would have known this dude to be this charismatic on the camera, I just didn't think it could happen. And Skip obviously brought the best out of Shannon. I've seen Lesean on Speak. This is my opinion. It's not a good show. I don't believe it's going to last much longer on FS1, if you're just being honest with you. I don't think Lesean's the right guy for the job, but I do understand why Undisputed might go in this direction. I got a couple hot takes that I want to kind of unleash on you guys, and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Y'all know that I'm not going to say too many bad words about Skip because, like I've told y'all previously, on my last day at ESPN, Skip Bayless was in the bathroom putting his makeup on, and he flat-foot told me, yo, young man, I think you got what it takes to go chase your dreams. That's all he said. I'm not trying to act like we had a long conversation. He told me, I think you should go for it. That was back in 2015. Obviously, I would have never imagined in my wildest dreams a year later he was going to leave and go to Cali. Let's keep in mind, I was an intern. I was trying to shadow Stephen A. Smith. The thing was, Stephen A. would be out of the studio a lot. Y'all know he was a busy man in 15, still busy today, but he was much more on the road as an NBA reporter. So I was just sitting in the room where at First Take was being shot. For those who don't know, there's not really a lot of people in the room. It's pretty quiet and cold, and Skip and Stephen A. don't really talk a lot during the commercials. So I was just sitting there with, just watching them and Molly for a few weeks. And Skip, I guess, took a liking to me, and he told me, yo, young man, I think you got what it takes to go chase your dreams. I see a lot of people get stuck here. Go chase your dream. So I personally don't have a lot of bad things to say about Skip. Not to mention, he put 2 black people in positions. Stephen A. was already a reporting legend, but, I mean, Skip took his brand to the next level with First Take. And then what Skip's done for Shannon, I mean, Shannon's about to be a big-time free agent in the sports media market. Skip picked him. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to personally say anything bad about Skip. I know a lot of people have bad things to say about Skip. A lot of fans have reached out and said, yo, bro, I don't like Skip. Why you like this dude? I have a personal experience with him. I have a right to like people that I've met and worked with. You don't have to. If you're coming from just a fan perspective, only watching the show, I was a fan of the show as well. I get it. I can understand if you don't have any personal relationships with said person why you don't like him. I'm saying I had a couple moments that makes me fond of what the guy did for those 2 brothers and even gave me a little bit of advice on my last day at ESPN. Now, with that being said, I do not speak for the masses. I'm only one person, and a lot of people do not like Skip Bayless. So this gets me to my hot take, ladies and gentlemen. I think debate-style television, as we know it, is about to die. I do. I have a couple of reasons to support my claim. Number one, Skip Bayless is older. Shannon Sharp doesn't need Skip today as much as Skip needs Shannon. I would not have said that 6-7 years ago. Times have changed. Shannon has phenomenally worked his brand. Skip is very old, and some of these takes, as the years go by, they seem a lot more outdated than they did when he was at his peak as a debater. He's not alone struggling to find his way. Over on the other network, in my opinion, Stephen A. Smith and First Take is starting to feel a little outdated as well. Stephen A.'s allowing co-hosts to come on the show like J.J. Redick, and to me, they're not respectful enough. J.J. Redick comes on the show pretty much to tell Stephen A. you never played basketball in your life. You don't know what you're talking about. That's not good debate to television for somebody who's just trying to catch up on what happened the night before. I don't hear a lot of breakdowns of the games like I used to. In my humble opinion, this is me speaking from afar. I think everybody was all locked in on watching television, I'm sorry, specifically sports, when it was LeBron James in his prime, when it was Steph Curry in his prime, when it was the late, great Kobe Bryant in his prime, when there were more popular athletes in their prime playing. I think these dudes were a little more locked in on actually watching the product at night. What I believe to be happening right now, if you just look at the NBA's last few years, you got guys like Luka Doncic making the conference finals. You got guys like Giannis winning a championship. Jokic on the cusp of winning a championship. These are foreign-born stars that don't have as much dialogue and depth to them in the States as guys like LeBron, who was much easier to follow and obviously one of the greatest players ever. At his apex, he was in the finals every year. I'm looking at some of these debates, and they seem lazy. Can I be 100% honest with you? I'm looking at a lot more attention being invested in the off-the-field stuff than the on-the-field stuff. I see a little spark in Stephen A's eye when Kyrie does something foolish, and Kyrie does a lot of dumb stuff, in my opinion. I see a little sparkle in Stephen A's eye when Kyrie does something bad off the court, more than when Kyrie Irving drops 40 on the court. That is a problem to me. When Ja Morant does something dumb, which he's done a few times over this year, I see a little more sparkle in the eye of Stephen A than I do when Ja Morant jumps over a guy in Indiana. That is a problem to me. When Aaron Rodgers talks about a vaccine, I see a little bit more of a sparkle in the eyes of Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp than I do when Aaron Rodgers throws a touchdown pass to win a game. That is a problem to me. Obviously, I'm not saying don't cover the bad. I'm just saying the athletic process still has to matter. What the person actually does for a living, the games have to matter, especially with the NBA on ESPN's side, because that's where their TV deal is at. That's what I'm saying. I think the investment is still in football, but definitely not as much in basketball night to night. And with that being said, I think debate-style television, as we know it, is no longer a thing. You know what I think was the biggest moment this year? And keep in mind, I'm biased in this fight because I'm in this game. A couple months ago, Stephen A did something very important, and it further backs what I've told y'all about Stephen A from what I saw from him as an intern at ESPN. That man cares about young black journalists, young black professionals in the workspace doing it the right way. He does care a lot, by the way. I saw it from my own two eyes. I saw Stephen A bring on a guy that made his come up through YouTube. Gentleman by the name of Kenny Beecham. He's a big deal. One of his channels is Cat4Q. Now, I don't watch him just because I don't partake in anybody else's content in the same space that I'm in just because I don't like getting anybody's opinion. But I know this young dude is a big deal, and I got the ultimate respect for what he's got going. He's inspiring me in a lot of ways. Be clear, I think I'm older than him by a year or two, but I definitely pulled an inspiration from him. I definitely pulled some thumbnail inspiration. I like keeping it honest. I like what he's got going. And for me personally, I'm looking at him like, okay, Stephen A. Smith brought him on his podcast and then brought him on First Take. That's a big deal to me. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Kenny was also on the Pat McAfee show. Okay, Pat McAfee is about to be the highest paid talent at ESPN when he brings his show over at the end of this summer, I believe. Stephen A's the highest paid talent already, and he'll be second when Pat comes over. He just brought Kenny on to First Take, ESPN's biggest morning rating. Times are changing, all right? I believe I'm next. Let me just put that out in the atmosphere. Y'all know I got the ultimate confidence in myself. If you don't have the ultimate confidence in yourself, work harder, believe more, try harder. I think I'm next. I can't wait. Won't it be a great full circle moment for me, being a guy that worked at ESPN at the age of 21 as an intern, being offered a position pretty much, and flat-foot saying, no, I want to come back to this place on my own terms, not as a production assistant, but as an on-air talent. I'm telling y'all, I think the future of debate-style television is going to change, and I believe companies like ESPN are going to invest more money into content creators that have built their own audience. What the hell are they constantly trying to pull opinions out of even athletes that played the sport that are so much friends of their peers? They're, the players that they either play with or played with or in the same peer groups with or in the same profession with. Why are they pulling from these guys, barely getting perspectives and takes out of these guys, when you could go find these content creators who watch more games than athletes do, than a lot of these journalists and columnists do? Why are they pulling from these guys when you can start building with content creators who, if nothing else, number one, they have shown you that they can build an audience. Number two, they're dedicated. It is not easy. Take it from me. I've been in this space for about 8 years' time now. What I do for a living is not easy. I'm forever grateful for what I do, but be clear, pretty much every day of my life, I work 16 hours a day to make ends meet. I will never change any of it for nothing in the world. I've been able to grow what I got, 350,000 subscribers on is Mr. Teleferro, another 45,000 here on Hoops Ferro, pretty much. That's what, about 400 right there. I got another 200,000 on Facebook. That's 600,000. I think I got another 20,000 some odd on Instagram. So we're talking about 620,000 followers I've been able to grow in my 7-8 years time. I'm one of the blessed ones. You know what I mean? Kenny's over 1 million something subscribers. I'm telling you, the new way is to go grab somebody that has already built an audience and invest in them because they've at least shown that they've invested in themselves. That's what I think we're heading to. I believe that's the next era. Look at Pat McAfee, man. He built his own team, built his own show, got every athlete under the sun in the NFL, every coach, executive on his show every day of the week. Aaron Rodgers literally comes once a week. I'm telling you, the new way is to go get the guys that build their own, start out channels, get motion on YouTube, and build with them versus trying to pull from these guys that don't know how to build an audience for themselves. That is the way. I'm looking at a company like Spotify right now that has literally pretty much gone bankrupt investing. I know I'm going on a tangent right now, but a lot of people like my tangents. I'm looking at a company like Spotify right now, right? They pretty much invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Joe Rogan, the Obamas, and they had Joe Budden. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous. Joe Rogan's podcast, in my opinion, was a much bigger deal before he landed on Spotify exclusively. The Obamas, I don't even know if they shot an episode for their podcast. I love Jemele Hill personally, so I'm not going to say much about her. She's seemingly having her issues with the company. They had Joe Budden. His podcast was booming. They didn't want to pay him what he wanted. These companies are learning the hard way about putting all this revenue into people that don't know how to build audiences. So to get me back full circle, if Skip Bayless does decide to go the Lesean McCoy route, I think it will be interesting. I don't know if it will work. Skip's proved us wrong in the past. We shall see. I thought he was going to go invite Lil Wayne on. That's my hot take from that perspective. I thought he was going to go try to get Lil Wayne for a couple, and he might still do it in season. I thought he was going to try to get a celebrity like Lil Wayne or Snoop Dogg to come in place of Shannon Sharpe. That fits like the Skip Bayless ordeal. I don't know if those gentlemen would be up to doing that every day. My guess is they would probably both decline. But I thought that was going to be his first invitation. I do believe Skip Bayless's brand is going to take a hit. I wouldn't be surprised if this is it. He loves sports, man. So you know he's going to go down swinging. He's going to make them force him off the air. He's going to go down swinging. I'm telling you the person that you need to watch over at FS1. It'll tell you about the direction because it looks like they might be going through it right now. I'm looking at their morning lineup. It doesn't look as compelling with Shannon out of the mix. They might have to move Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, first things first, into the undisputed time slot. I'm just thinking here, if Skip shows struggles, we'll see. Watch Colin Cowherd. Colin's a very smart guy, usually a step ahead of the curve. He's going to be the one you want to see. What is his next move? If he goes left, you shall see who'll go right. Put it like that. Colin Cowherd is the one you want to watch. He's a very smart guy, and he's no idiot. He knows what Shannon brings to the table. He won't be in denial. You'll watch his move and see what's next in the future of FS1 programming. I want to thank you guys so much for the time, love, and support. It's what your boy will never take for granted. I'm out.